Alright, so welcome back everybody. So for this video I'm going to be talking about the oak strategy. However, I've decided to change the name. This is the flora strategy. Because while the oak tree is a very important part of this strategy, everything flora is actually very important in this strategy. So we're going to call it the flora strategy. Now, this is very similar to the big tree or the big forest strategy too, but we're not going to talk about the big forest strategy because there's not much difference in that. So let's talk about this oak tree strategy, or should I say this flora strategy, because there are some changes to make this even more powerful than it used to be. One thing, and so we'll get to that. So the oak tree, so let's talk about the oak tree. So the oak tree means you have to have all 8 tree species in your forest to score 10 points. And hey, if you can satisfy the binocular needs, you also get an additional turn too, which is always nice. And if you can manage to get yourself a red squirrel here, you can put it on top of that oak tree for some additional points that way, right? So that's nice. But with that said, you don't actually need all 8 tree species anymore, because the alpine expansion adds 2 new trees. So there's 10 trees now. So you don't need all of the different species of trees. You only need 8 of the 10. And so I've picked the best 8 trees for this strategy out of all of the trees. So, first of all, we have the 2 new trees. The stone pine tree here is going to give you points based on the amount of alpine cards you have, and it can potentially let you draw a couple of cards. If you don't satisfy its needs with the binocular ability, you still get to draw a card. If you do, though, you get to draw 2 cards. So it's still nice. The European larch here is worth 3 points, but if you can satisfy its binocular needs, hey, you get to play a free alpine card. So that's a good card as well, right? So that's 3 trees already that you need for the oak tree to satisfy its requirements, right? So you just need 5 more. So the Douglas fir tree is a good one because you get 5 points with it and potentially can get an extra turn. So that's nice, right? The sycamore tree scores your points based on the amount of trees you have. So yes, that's going to always be a good tree for this strategy, for sure. So that's 3, 4, 5. We just need 3 more trees. The birch tree is still good because it's easy to play. You can get a card, but it's easy to play, even if it's only worth a point. So that's still a good tree for this strategy. The linden tree is a good tree for this strategy as well, because it's cheap, but you might want a couple of them to ensure that you can score the maximum amount of points. And then we just need 1 more tree, because we have 7 trees here. So the horse chestnut is another good tree. It's cheap, and if you get a couple of these, even better, right? And so that's all you need to satisfy the oak tree's requirements. These are the best trees that will work with that. Now, with that said, if you can get this mushroom, this chanterelle mushroom, early on, you can get to draw a lot of cards based on the amount of trees you're playing. So trying to get this one early on is awesome if you can pull that off. So that's a good one to get. But because you have the oak tree then satisfied, you can get more oak trees if you want. Or because oak trees are expensive to play, you can play this wild strawberry. And this wild strawberry gives you 10 points if you have 8 tree species. Nice, right? And if you're going the flora strategy, you probably are going to have the most trees. And so, or you're going to have at least 10 trees, I should say. But if you're going to have the most trees, you might want to play this great spotted woodpecker for 10 additional points if you think you're going to have the most trees because you're going this strategy. But even if you don't have the most trees, but if you have at least 10 trees, this moss is going to give you 10 points if you have at least 10 trees. So there, we got 2 more plants. Now, the moss and the wild strawberries, they are considered plants. They aren't considered trees. They're considered plants. And then we have another new card that's also a plant that would work well with this strategy. This Edelweiss is cheap to play. It's worth 3 points, so that's nice. It lets you draw a card, but it also lets you draw an additional card if you satisfy its binocular ability or need. So that's That's neat. So that's 3 plants right there. That's 3 plants that aren't trees that work well with this strategy. But wait, we've got 3 different cards that will score you points based on the amount of plants you have. So if you already have these 3 plants, this blackberry here, which is free to play, it's going to score you 8 points because, hey, this is also a plant. So that's worth 8 points already, if you have, unless you have more of them, right? Another good card that's going to potentially let you get some extra points for your plants is this bird here. This capercaillie will score you a few points for some of your plants, but it also lets you play a plant for free. Like, I don't know, your blackberries, for instance, or your moss, or your wild strawberries. Play those for free. Those are good to play for free. So yes, this capercaillie is another good card that works well with this strategy. And then there's one more. This is the alpine marmot here. It's going to give you 3 points for every different plant. That's awesome. So if you have this alpine marmot, and there's 4 of them in the game, 4 of these, so you might get to play a couple of these, because they're cheap to play. You might get 3, 6, 9, and 12 points just for this one marmot. If you have multiples of these, that's more points. And so those are all of the cards that work well with the Flora strategy. So I hope you guys liked this strategy. Like I said, this is a powerful strategy, but if you want to add another strategy to the equation, that insect strategy would work fairly well with this one as well. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.